Okay, everyone, how y'all doing out there? In a minute, I'm going to instruct how to graph what's called a cardioid. Notice that the two fours are the same. So this maximum value would be 4 plus 4 times 1, which is 8, or 4 plus 4 times negative 1, which is 0. Okay, and then there's this one over here, which is called a limaçon, and that's soft C, son. That's why there's that little virgule underneath the C. That's a French word. Notice these two are practically the same, except the 4 and the 2 switch. So this one will never be negative, and it will never equal 0 because the minimum value here would be 4 plus 2 times negative 1. 4 minus 2 being greater than 0. But this one could become negative because you could get 2 plus 4 times negative 1, which causes a negative radius. And that's going to cause the graph of this thing to be an inner loop. Same thing with this one, because you're going to get a negative, so you're going to have a negative radius, which is going to cause the graph to get an inner loop. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do this. Alright, so I got 3 pens here. Alright, so we're just going to go around the unit circle. So 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. So right, so this is going to become 4 plus, let me change this. This should actually be 8 and negative 8. Again, because the maximum we'll get is 4 plus 4 times 1, which is 8. Alright, that happens right here. So we got the graph right there. And then here we get 4 plus 4 times 0, which is 4. So I'm going to put that right in the middle, because half of 8. And then here we get 4 plus 4 times negative 1. This is going to become 0. So we're going to be right there. And so this graph does this. And it's pinching right here at the origin horizontally. Notice this is a cosine, like the x, horizontal. Alright, then we're going to do the rest of it. So at this location, once again, the cosine is 0. So 4 plus 4 times 0. So once again, 4. And then once we get back to here, we get 8. That's called the cardioid. Notice it looks like a heart, and there's a little crimp. Right, so basically, 8 plus 8, I'm sorry, not 8 plus 8. 4 plus 4, and then 4 plus 0, and then 4 minus 4, and then 4 plus 0. So 8, 4, 0, 4, 8. Okay, now this one, again, you're never going to get a negative, and it's always going to be greater than 0, because as you go around, you can do the same thing. Now that's why I put that as 6 and negative 6, because it's either going to be 4 plus 2 times 1, or 4 plus 2 times negative 1. Alright, so right here the sign is 0, so 4 plus 2 times 0, so that'll be 4. So I'll put this about 2/3 of the way. Okay, and then right here, you get the sign is 1, so 4 plus 2 times 1 is 6. And then right here, again, just like over here, the sign is 0, so 4 plus 2 times 0, once again, is 6. So I'm going to put that about 2/3 of the way. Right? And then the minimum value occurs when the sign is negative 1. So 4 plus 2 times negative 1 is 4 minus 2. So I'm going to put that about 1/3 of the way, and this is what we get. And notice here, there's still a crimp, but it doesn't go all the way to 0, unlike over here. And notice that the crimp is vertical. Again, the sign like the Y. And you could also think of it, as you go around, This is going to be 4 plus 0. This is going to be 4 plus 2. This is going to be 4 plus 0. And this is going to be 4 minus 2. Okay? Any questions? This is a trip. I hope this only lasts 2 weeks, please. I put out information on my website about our friend, the coronavirus, that's reputable from USA Today, the San Francisco Chronicle. So you want to pay attention, I'll be providing information on my website. Okay, so now we got this one. And notice that we're going to get a negative here. Now that's going to cause an inner loop. Because when we are at the location with the negative radius, we got to flip it to the other side. So if we had a negative radius here, pointing this way, towards the left, that means it would flip it inside. That's what's going to happen with this one. And again, notice 6 and negative 6 because 2 plus 4. And actually, it's probably never going to get to negative 6. But again, we want to use the largest radius when we do this little polar coordinate grid, because that's the maximum we're going to be able to get to. And then we can just proportionalize any other values, because 4 is half of 8. Over here, 4 is 2/3 of 6, and 2 is 1/3 of 6. So that's how you can graph these like that if you understand that. All right, anyway, so this is going to become based on the cosine. So this is going to become 2 minus 4 times 1, which is negative 2. All right, so that means we're actually over here. We got to flip it over because we're pointing in the 0 direction, but we got a negative radius, so we're over here. Okay, and then we get to this location where it's 2 minus 4 times 0, so that's 2. And then we get back to this location where it's negative. So this becomes 2 minus 4 times negative 1, which is 2 plus 4, so 6, so we're pointing right here. Okay, and then we go back to our 270 degree 3 power over 2 location, and we get 2 minus 4 times 0, so 2, which is right there. Now you look at that and you're like, well, what the heck is that? There's an inner loop here. So it kind of does something like this. And the reason the inner loop is there is because whenever this is negative, that's going to happen in a certain amount of locations. So when this is 1/2, we get 0. But where does the cosine equal 1/2? In these two locations, at 60 degrees and negative 60 degrees. So when we're in this region, the radius, being negative, is pointing towards the inner loop. And that's why that is. So essentially, when you do your little unit circle map, you get 2 minus 4 times 1, so this is negative 2. You get 2 minus 4 times 0, again down here. And here you get 2 minus 4 times negative 1, so this is 6. And in between these two locations, that's where you get 0, because those would be where the cosine is 1/2, so we get 2 times 0. So when we're in this location, we have that, and then that. And that's what that kind of looks like. It's a little tricky. And so again, these are the Limacons, and Limacons occur when these two numbers are not the same. And if the first number is bigger than the second number, you don't get that inner loop. But if the second number is bigger than the first number, you do. Okay, so the important points that we need here are these 4 locations. And once you see that point that's in the middle of the other 3, that's where you have your inner loop. Okay, and the next one's going to have an inner loop too. before I get there, notice that this inner loop occurs horizontally, again because it's the cosine like the x. Same thing here, we're going to have the inner loop because the 4, the second number, is bigger than the first number, and again sine like the y going up and down, so our inner loop is going to be vertical and either be here or here. Okay, and then notice why I did 6 and -6, because it's going to be 2 plus 4 is the biggest and 2 minus 4 is the smallest. So again, we're using the largest radius to proportionalize our unit circle here. Alright, so here, sine is 0 at 0 degrees. 2 plus 4 times 0, that's 2, so I'm going to put a little dot right there, 1/3 of the 6. And then up here we got 2 plus 4 times 1, which is 6, so I'm going to put a little dot right there. And then over here, just like over here, at 180 degrees, pi radians, we have 2 plus 4 times 0, so once again right there. Okay, and then we got the last location, the 270, which is 3 pi over 2, right? And so that's when the sign is -1, that's when we get our negative radius. And so since we're going down, we're going to have to flip it over, and so we're right here. And then notice that point's in between the 3 points, just like over here. And notice that the loop is going vertical. So here's our inner loop, and then we just like that. Okay, so then just again to look at the unit circle map. Alright, so we go around. Alright, so 2 plus 4 times 0, that's 2. 2 plus 4 times 1, that's 6. 2 plus 4 times 0, that's 2. And then 2 plus 4 times -1, that's -2. Okay, so our inner loop's going to be here. This is the negative radius, so here's our inner loop going through the 2. And then this is going to come out to 2. And this is going to go up to 6. And this is going to come back down to 2, and then boom. And so again, the 4 important points here are these. Alright, I'll make another video that describes the meniscus, the roses, and the spirals.